3-year-olds or sophomores are coming along really nicely. You're starting to see again the separation for some of them. You have some horses like Westland Warrior that look like they're going to be decent overnight horses, and then a lot of question marks surrounding Maury, surrounding Arrowhead Hanover. Arrowhead Hanover with a tremendous mile the other day, 1:55.1. Now Maury is not ready to do that, right? Arrowhead Hanover had been 1:59 a month ago, and Maury has only been to 59 one time in a qualifier. I trained him in 2 minutes yesterday, and although he's not in the straight numbers of 4 or 5 at the Meadows, it's still not going to be a cakewalk in any of those races. He's going to have to trot in 57 on Wednesday, which is exactly where I want to see him. I want to see 57, then 56, and then I'm really going to drop the hammer on him as we get into May and get ready for the Bunker Hill stake race that both him and Arrowhead Hanover are eligible to. So Arrowhead Hanover, fantastic this week. Aunt Lily, make a few little changes with her tonight. Open bridle, dog chain, earplugs on her, and I think she'll be a different horse tonight. I'm hopeful of it. Blue Ventura was good the other day. Somebody said, well, I think you just drove him too hard the week before. You might be right. Here's my take on that. I didn't drive him hard enough that he should have finished 7th, B12, or whatever he was. So clearly exposed. He's not a deep horse. There's nothing wrong with that. But when you keep him bottled up, he's fast. He's quick on his feet, quicker than his body would allude that he is. And he was very good the other night. If I get through anywhere at any time in the mile, he's a winner. But again, bottled up, comfortable for most of the mile. He'll give you a big run at some point. But when you expose him and use him kind of hard, not so much. That's okay. Now that I know that, I can drive him accordingly. And now that you know that, you can see him race accordingly. So, Blue Ventura, a good mile from him the other day, looking for better things next week. Captain Incredible, I trained Captain Incredible in 58, come after 56 seconds the other day. Keep in mind, this isn't just a horse we're getting ready. This is a horse that I think is capable of doing very, very good things for us in 2025. And he will train again, probably 57 on Tuesday at the Meadows with Tim Twaddle. We'll qualify him the Tuesday after at the Meadows. I might bring some horses over to school also, and then Captain Incredible will either qualify again or start his 3-year-old campaign. We will see. A little bit behind. We've had to address some issues with his ankles that were bothering him up front, but mostly the horse has been very, very good. Chicago Hall was exceptionally good last night. Third, just beat for second at 55.1 or 55.3. Last quarter at 28 and a bit. He was good. Really happy with what I saw from Chicago Hall. Country Dancing schooled in the mud yesterday. It's hard to get a read on her. I think the pacing filly and colt division is so tough in Pennsylvania. You almost have to be a 51 pacer doing the Stallion Series, and she is not as of yet a 51 pacer. So by definition alone, she's likely a fairly useful overnight horse. We'll see how she gets along this week. She might actually need one more week. I'm not putting her on the track to get beat up. Couldn't get a very good mile into her in the mud yesterday. It might be worth putting another strong mile into her Friday in another schooler before we race her. That'll be up to James and Dominic. Country Dancing Foxy Seaside is training at Mohawk this morning. When I was leaving to come to Pennsylvania, Dominic and James were heading down to Mohawk to train. Gaslight Hall, Foxy Seaside, I think one or two other ones. James's horse Hasty Bid was training and getting prepped already also. So probably looking for a mile in 59 out of Foxy, a mile in 2-3 out of Gaslight Hall, and then he'll school next week. Freedom Hill, as suspected, her white count was a little high, so she was a little sick, and her liver count was high also, 51. That's more than high enough to ever be a little flat the other day. So that is how Maury ended up on Wednesday. We pushed Freedom Hill to either Saturday or the following Wednesday, but in doing so, we had to fill that spot. We had to flip-flop. So I was planning on racing Memento Mori next Saturday, but as it turns out, it is on Wednesday that we're going to race Memento Mori. Actually, Ollie's first baseball game of the season is on Wednesday, so I'm going to miss it. Hopefully they have it on Game Changer. If not, Amy will have some videos for me. But not something I want to miss, but we'll be Mori and Melisandre on Wednesday evening. There's very little I can do. Gaslight Hall was training today at the track. I think 2-3, 2-4, 2-5, somewhere around there is where Dominic wanted to go with him. Gorgeous Package is racing tonight. I'd like to see a good mile out of her again. Grand Slam Dio in such a horrible, muddy track, knowing what her liver count was. I think I'm happy with her mile. I think there's a little bit of me that wanted to see her just completely overcome and plow through and look tremendous, but instead she just looked good. So we'll see how she races next week. Gymboree is in to go Wednesday also. She has been on an odd trajectory. You know, we raced her 5 days before the Poconos. She was second, finished fourth in the Poconos, was kind of so-so, and then raced 9 days later. She's going to race on Wednesday. We did train her up a little bit today. We'll see how she makes it on Wednesday, but I suspect she'll do well over the next few weeks. Manhattan Money, I'm not sure what to think about last night. I think he was in too tough. That's a classy fits. It was softer, way softer last week. So I don't know. We'll see. They don't race at the Meadows next week anyway, so maybe we'll race him once more and then off to the Meadows with him. Melisandre was very good to start the season, undefeated, a winner in a qualifier, and both her first two races. Now she's up in the Iron Maiden Series at Northfield Park, but she's coming in off 2 weeks, so they trained her up today. I'm curious to see how she races on Wednesday. Memento Mori trained great yesterday. Eager to start his year, but you have this kind of pressure, right? You know, this horse that set the world record last year. He made a ton of money. Should obliterate the field he's with. He took a little more time in the field. He took a little more time getting ready. You know, it just may take a little more time getting him rounded into stake form. He is in the perfect spot now. His first race is going to be May the 16th, I believe. I got to double check his stake calendar, but May the 16th, I believe, is his first stake race, and then it'll be literally off to the races with Memento Mori at that point. Mountaineer Prince, crowd is splints, schooled, qualified, and raced with no brakes. Never been done yet, so they must have been bothering him. I'm going to drive him. I almost want to put Justin on him on Wednesday, but I'm going to drive him on Wednesday. We'll see how he races. Never Lose Felix. Just a horse, right? A little underwhelming the other day. We might make a little shoeing change on him, but he needs to do better, right? Just has to be a better horse than that. And he hasn't been. So, the type of horse that would likely move, I suspect, as we get into May. There's no real reason to keep him here. He's not going to be a Stallion Series horse. He's going to be a useful overnight horse wherever he lands, but does not look like a stake horse from my eyes at this point. Oh, he'll know. I believe she has been and will be a stake horse as we head into May. She's back at the barn training now. She should be ready to go by May the 1st. I got to double check her first stake race in Ohio, but I know it's certainly not far off that date. Resolve Indeed. Pretty hard to get a gauge on what kind of a mile that was the other night. Kind of muddy, crappy night at the track. You know, her last half 59, last quarter 29. She has to do more. I think she can. She looked good in her qualifiers. Just for a small horse on a real deep track, that was a lot to ask. And I think that's exactly why she was kind of so-so looking the other night. Rose Run AJ, 3-1 out of the 10 hole. That's a pretty good nod. I'd love nothing more than to see him do well. Stay here in Ontario until he gets ready for his 2025 Buckeye start here in Ohio. Rose Run Alexander, same thing. She's in the 7 hole tonight. Lower odds, but I have no idea what to think. 2-2 is not 57, right? I think she can pace there, but we haven't seen it yet this year. So I think we'll see the best form of Rose Run Alexander that we can see tonight. What that is, how she finishes, how she races, I don't know. We'll all see together later on tonight in Ohio. Speed of Sound, 2-4. Dominic is looking to train her. She doesn't have the hobbles back on yet, which is good. So we'll see how Speed of Sound is on her return to the races. Westland Warrior, as I said, is okay. Right? He just needs to do his work better. I'm a little disappointed with his overall output in 2025, but I think that's just indicative of him. I think he's just a horse. He's okay just being a horse, and he's not too worried about being anything more. So we'll see how Westland Warrior does as we get further in, closer to May, closer to the stake season starting. And then Woodmere Betcha. Woodmere Betcha trained in 2-3 the other day. Smitty said a very strong 2-3. So I suspect you're going to see her in the qualifiers, to qualify this week in PEI, I would imagine. Smitty's happy. I'm happy. You should be happy. Super excited about Woodmere Betcha getting her sophomore season started very soon. So now you have it. 2-year-olds are done. 3-year-olds are done. Racehorses are done. I even gave you a bonus list of 10 horses that I thought improved greatly over the last 2 weeks and really caught my eye. Very impressed with their overall output and work ethic over the last 2 weeks. And then the opening, I am going to save for tomorrow. Amy and I are going to do that together when she lands back in Ohio. Ollie has practice tonight. And after that, whether she comes back tonight or whether she comes back tomorrow morning, will be up to her. So, that's it for this afternoon. I will talk to you later on. I'm on my way. Where are we at right now? 2:12. I went from 12 minutes late when I get in the car to 13 minutes early right now, and we still have 3 hours to drive.
How can you wait and then you're not wait?
Because we got through the border quickly, and because we've been making up good time. Now I am speeding a little bit right now, so I'm going to slow that down. Okay, well that's good. Now we should be fine. Lots of time we've made up as we are on our way. We're not too far from Erie, I believe, maybe 30 minutes from Erie, and then straight shot to the Meadows. I'd love to make up another 25 minutes so I can set his hobbles up, but that would be kind of impossible now, wouldn't it? Anyway, take care. I will talk to you all very soon. Have a wonderful Saturday. Good luck to all my partners racing this weekend into next week.